Howdy, and welcome back. Back of the Endzone podcast is officially back after almost Bryant, 2-year hiatus of
Just
no
about.
episodes. And now we're officially back bringing you a brand new episode right before, arguably, and I mean, not even arguably, to both of us, it's the biggest week in the season of college football. It's rivalry week with
The
some
regular season, anyway.
implications. Yeah,
Regular season.
exactly. Exactly. But this week in our new episode, our rebranding or just I don't know, just our new episode of the Back of the End Zone podcast, we're going to dive into some things like the SEC conference title. What's it looking like in that SEC championship race, along with that Big Ten championship race? And then some fishy things going on over at Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin having lots of stuff going on. Obviously, he's going to still play it out for the season, but we've got a jam-packed episode in our first episode back. And Brian, what do you got to say?
Man, it's so great to be back. Almost 2 years. I mean, you and I have been up to a lot since we graduated from the University of South Alabama. If you don't know, if you're new or you're just getting new, we met in college at South Alabama. We were journalist students. Did a lot together. We've actually taken jobs now, different jobs. I'm a journalist in Arkansas. Different things that we've been doing. So it's great to be back. Man, and speaking of rivalry week, it's the best time of the year for the regular season, but it's also a sad time of year because it means the regular season is coming to an end.
Exactly.
It's week 12, it's week 13, 14, and the regular season finale is now here.
Exactly. And I mean, like a lot of people, whether your team is no team is a lock for the playoffs. There's a lot of teams where they have very high chances of making into the playoff, both of ours included. But this is the sweatiest time of year. Right now, my feet are sweating, sitting on the ground. And I'm nervous about this week. I know you're nervous about this week. It doesn't matter how good your team is going into rivalry week. Sorry, I can't even speak right now. Anything can happen. Year after year, we see that anything can happen on any given week, but most importantly, rivalry week. So without further ado, let's get into this first segment. And I don't know which one you want to talk about first, Brian, but I say we get into some of that SEC championship title contention right now between quite a few teams. There's obviously A&M up there. We've got Bama in the hunt, Georgia's in the hunt, and Ole Miss. Between those four teams, kind of talk me through what you're thinking through.
It's really a 4-team race, and really, in my opinion, depending on what happens with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, and we'll get to that later on, I see it as a 3-team race, but there are 4 teams in the mix. I want to focus on A&M and Bama real quick. Those are the 2 teams that if you're winning this week, you're in. I mean, if you win, you're in. That is the most likely scenario at this point, but we don't know with it being rivalry week. A&M goes on the road to Austin to face Texas, who's been gaining a lot of momentum. They thumped Arkansas last week. And then you have Bama, who was rolling along and then stumbled against Oklahoma at home, and all of a sudden your playoff, even your SEC championship and your playoff implications are both on the line here in Jordan-Hare on the road in the Iron Bowl with an Auburn team that's playing for a bowl game with an interim coach. They have some newfound momentum going into the offseason. They would love nothing more than to spoil Bama's hopes. And then you got Georgia and Ole Miss who need things to happen. Georgia needs Bama or A&M to lose, either one. Ole Miss needs both of them to lose. I cannot remember a time in my 25 years of watching SEC football, almost 26, where the SEC championship race was this tight.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I think one of the most exciting things, and I mean, you may not think that it's exciting. I know it's still kind of up in the air, but Texas A&M, man, how about them Aggies this year? You got to think, after bringing in Mike Elko last year, first year head coach coming from Duke, and had a shaky year last year. I'm pretty sure they had like 4 losses, didn't have the best year. They did have a close game with Texas to close out the season, but then they bounced back second year And I mean, look at what they're doing this year. They've been dominant. There's been a couple shaky games. Obviously, they squeaked past Arkansas like 4 or 5 weeks ago. But right now, I mean, they look like they're in sole possession of winning the SEC. It obviously comes down to this week against Texas. It comes down to the way that Arch Manning plays out. It comes down to Marcel Reed. But I think offensively, I think that A&M has what it takes to win that game. Obviously, we're going to go into it too in our college football pick'em segment with Emily Cochran from Fox 10 News, their sports director on. But I mean, like, you just look at what they've done this year, flipping the script from years prior. A&M's right there. They're right there in that race. But then it's even shakier too, because you got to think about it too. If it all comes down to A&M winning, and then I don't think Georgia's going to have a problem with beating Georgia Tech. I know last year's game was close. I know that game went to 8 overtimes and Georgia won by 2 off that 2-point conversion at the end. But you have to think about it right now. The ball is in A&M's court and it's not in Bama's. And this is in year 2 for Kalen DeBoer. He should be looking like what it's looking like for Elko right now. I know you don't like hearing that, but that week 1 loss to Florida State and then losing to Oklahoma in that tightly contested battle. I mean, like, Bama needs a big week against Auburn this week in the Iron Bowl, man.
Well, I want to counter that though. If Bama does win, they are in.
I
All
agree.
they got to do that they're at least in the SEC championship game because and I listened to some other podcasts and I listened watched them break down these scenarios and basically if A&M wins, Bama wins, Ole Miss wins. Georgia's already finished with conference play, so they're 7-1. If Bama, Ole Miss, and Georgia all finish 7-1, A&M stays undefeated in conference play. They're in. It would come down to a like third or fourth tiebreaker because, and if you're listening, just follow me here. It's a lot to take in, but okay, the first tiebreaker is head to head. Okay, Georgia and Bama has the head to head over Georgia. Georgia has the head to head over Ole Miss. But Ole Miss and Bama didn't play each other. So there's no head to head there. Okay, so you go to the second tiebreaker, which is common opponents. These 3 teams do not have a common opponent. Georgia has maybe Auburn, which Alabama will play this weekend. Tennessee also. Bama and Ole Miss have Oklahoma, who Alabama lost to. Ole Miss beat. South Carolina's another one. But they all 3 didn't play the same SEC opponents where
Exactly.
you could say, okay, Alabama, Georgia, and Ole Miss played Missouri. Georgia and Ole Miss beat Missouri. I mean, Georgia and Alabama beat Missouri. Ole Miss didn't. None of them. And the only one that played Missouri was Alabama. So you don't have a common opponent among
Yeah.
all 3 teams.
No, and I'm with you. And I think on the big side of things, the biggest thing that Alabama has is the win at Georgia this year, the head-to-head win. And you know that every single conference, whether it's the SEC, whether it's the Big Ten, the Big 12, the ACC, even the college football playoff, they care about those head-to-head wins. And so it does come down to when you're looking at the playoff side of things, you guys have the head-to-head win over Georgia. Ty Simpson had a great game that game. You guys were airing it out 1 by 3, but that's a big win. But then looking at everything else on that SEC side of things, dude, like I don't think there's a way that A&M is not in the SEC title game. Even if they were to lose to Texas,
If they lose, it gets tricky because
it does get tricky. And I'm with
because
you on that. And there's a tricky side of that too when you look on the Big Ten side of things as well. But with A&M right now, I mean, going back to it, dude, like Marcel Reed is going to have a game. They have such a balanced attack offensively. And then it's like the other thing too is like it comes down to this Georgia Tech game too. Like, can Gunnar Stockton really come through in the clutch at the end of the season against Georgia Tech? You're looking at they had Carson Beck last year in that game. Carson Beck was great all year long. Obviously, Gunnar Stockton stepped into that role nicely under Kirby. They've done a great job all year, but can Gunnar Stockton step in this big moment against Georgia Tech in that rivalry game? I don't know.
and we'll get to that later. But going back to the tiebreakers thing, after those 2 tiebreakers, for the SEC championship race, it comes down to this tiebreaker right here for not just the three teams I mentioned, but if A&M were to lose, it comes into play as well because they'd all finish 7-1 in conference. At that point, it would be Georgia and Alabama because, and again, hang with me here. The third tiebreaker is combined conference opponent like winning percentage or record. Basically, they take all the opponents you faced in the conference and they put together their win loss record, and it comes out as a percentage. Bama and Georgia are right there. Like Bama's currently got the edge over Georgia for beating Vanderbilt. Okay, Georgia's right there at third place behind Bama and A&M. But if A&M were to lose, theirs is all the way last. So they
Yeah.
would go. They would fall behind Ole Miss, Georgia, and Bama.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And so I mean, this week all comes down to, I think, more than anything, just mental preparation. I think that's one of the biggest things that come into play during rivalry week. Like you've been doing it all year long. You look at on the Big Ten side of things and the SEC side of things, Alabama's been playing great football all year long. It comes down to mentally playing Auburn. You just have to mentally be better than they are. You have to be at a higher standard than they are, and they should be. But it comes down to that whole mental aspect too of like Texas A&M has had some close games. Bama's had some close games. Georgia's had some close games. Mentally going into this game, the rest of the season's a fluke going into this final week in rivalry week, and you have to wash all of that away because you know that underdog opponent. You know Auburn's going to come into the game ready to swing some punches, ready to drag you down into the mud. Same goes for Texas, man. Like you think after week one, everybody thought Texas's season was a fluke after Arch had a terrible game, and everyone was like, "Oh, season's over. Arch isn't that great." I mean, all of us can agree Arch still has potential. Maybe not him being as good as we thought he was going to be, but he still has a high ceiling. And all of these games on that SEC side of things, other than I think Ole Miss beats Mississippi State. They're beating Mississippi State for Lane. I know it's going to be close. I know Brandon Walker would disagree with me.
I'll have an
All
interesting take on that later when we do our bigger
right,
segment.
all right.
But
I'm just
I
saying.
will say this: when it comes to rivalry week, whether it's the SEC, Big Ten, any conference, you should not need any extra motivation when it comes to rivalry week. This is what you play for. This is like the first thing you play for all year is to get to the end of the season and play your rival. For Alabama and Auburn, I mean, you're in state. For Ole Miss, Mississippi State, even for Ohio State, Michigan, you should not need any extra motivation to be motivated to play in these games because it comes down to bragging rights, and for a lot of these games, it comes down. There are a lot of implications this year. I mean, I can't remember a rivalry week where there's so many playoff and conference championship implications, not just in the SEC but everywhere.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Everybody, welcome in our guest picker. She's been on before. She's a friend of the show. It's been a huge mentor to both me and Josh when it comes to this industry. Um, Emily Cochran, Fox10 Sports Director
The
Hey.
uh,
goat.
in Mobile. She does a wonderful job down there in Mobile covering high school sports, the Senior Bowl, college sports. Um, it has been a blast not only to work under you and learn from you, but also continue to watch you grow and do what you're doing down there.
Thank you.
Two-time Nappy winner, is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. Check out the posters back here. Yeah, yeah. I couldn't do it without. I have a team of people that have been such a huge help to me, so I could not do it without them. But yeah, I'm super proud of that.
For sure. Well, Emily, it is rivalry week. Before we get into the
Yes,
games,
it is.
what is one of the nicest things y'all could say about your rivals?
Um, so I went to Ole Miss, so my rival is Mississippi State. The nicest thing I could say about them, my brother decided to go to school there, so I guess they must be doing something right. That's about all I got. They have a good engineering program. I'll give them that. They have a good engineering program.
Josh, what about you over there with your Ohio State gear on?
I have nothing nice to say. I cannot say anything nice about that team up north. That's
You
it.
can't
That's
even
it.
say their
I
name.
I can't say anything nice about them. Brian,
Yeah.
how about you? What do you have to say about Auburn?
Yeah, Bryant, let us know.
Truthfully, beautiful campus. I've visited Auburn a couple times. I went to the Iron Bowl in 2023. Great atmosphere. Um, really pretty campus. It there are some bright spots about Auburn, but this week all bets are off the table.
Oh man, I don't think it's even going to be. I know we're going to get to it towards the end, but I don't think y'all are going to have a problem at all. I think that y'all are going to be just fine.
I hope you're
Brian
right.
hopes. Brian hopes.
Yeah,
So what
yeah.
game
All
we're
right.
getting into first,
Now,
Josh?
I think to start things off, it's only fitting with Emily on the show. I think it's only fitting to start off with the Egg Bowl, and obviously there's lots of drama going around with Lane possibly getting out of Ole Miss, maybe not. Lots of stuff going on. For me personally, I think this is one of the last times, not the last times, but I think Ole Miss has a lot of momentum under their belt going into this game. I think they've hit the ground running this season. I mean, the past, you look at what, like every year under Lane, they've been playing great football. They're in SEC contention every single year, and it comes down to this week against Mississippi State. I think Lacey's going to have a big game. Ole Miss is playing for more than just bragging rights. Like they're playing for a spot in the SEC title game and for a spot in the playoff. Obviously, again, there's lots of buzz around Lane, but for me personally, I'm just keeping it short and sweet, and I think Ole Miss comes out on top with the win big time at Mississippi State.
Well, I have a little bit of a different take. I think the last week and a half has been probably a little too much for Ole Miss because um and not to their own fault. The players didn't ask for it. The athletic director didn't ask for all this, and to some degree, Lane didn't ask for all this. A lot of this has been media driven, and some by the other schools that are going after him, trying to get him in and get him in quick before National Signing Day, and trying to. It's a lot of moving parts when it comes to Lane Kiffin and the situation. But my thing is, where is Ole Miss mentally with all this? They were off last week. They didn't have a game. Okay, where are they mentally? Has it been a distraction? And then you have Mississippi State, who's been in a lot of close games this year. Uh, could have beat Texas. Could have beat Arkansas. Could have beat Tennessee. A lot of close games. Jeff Levy has that team trending in the right direction. And I don't think people understand. And Emily, I mean, I know you full on understand, but people don't understand the amount of hate between these two teams. I mean, like just like Alabama and Auburn, it is. It can get it can get feisty and it can get dangerous at times. But I'm gonna go with the Bulldogs. I'm gonna go. I think all this has just been. I want to say a distraction, but I think Mississippi State will be ready to roll. I don't know where Ole Miss is mentally. I'm picking the upset and rivalry week. I'm going with the Mississippi State Bulldogs at home.
Oh, Bryant. Oh, Bryant. Okay, so I have been really like I've been locked in with all the Lane Kiffin stuff, trying to figure out, okay, is he gonna stay? Is he gonna go? All the rumors and everything that's been going on. Me personally, I think he's gone. I think he's leaving. I think his presser yesterday kind of indicated like he was trying to justify, like with his father being a coach, all the moving around. He was trying to justify the moving and how the impact you get to have on players' lives and blah blah blah. If he's saying that, that's you're trying to justify like going somewhere. That to me, you're leaving. Also, the tweets lately from the players have been extremely weird. Keywan Lacey, best running back in the country. I think he's incredibly talented. A lot of the time he puts our team on his back and just handles the load himself. He tweeted yesterday and like there were still quotation marks around the tweet. So it's almost like he was being told to copy and paste something and then him putting that out and Trinidad Chambliss, like his tweet that he put out. It's just weird. The whole situation around it is weird. But here's what I will say. as mad as the players are, because I've heard this too, as mad as the players are about this whole situation, and they don't love it. They're sick of the drama. A lot of the leadership on the team is sick of the drama. Um, I still believe that I think they're having a better season that they even imagined that they were going to have. I think that expectation was we're just going to be like middle of the SEC, and now we're 10-1. And what really sucks about that is after we get our 10th win over Florida, when all the drama's happening and everyone's worried we're going to lose to Florida, we beat Florida, and then Lane puts his family on a plane the next day to go to Florida and then Baton Rouge. So I think the team is locked in. I think Lane's not locked in. And he's one of those people that cares what everybody thinks. So like this, I know this is getting to him. Like you could tell in his presser that he's rattled, especially by Ben Garrett with Ole Miss Spirit, like the questions and pressing him, which he deserves to be pressed. Um, but I think even with all the outside noise and all the crap, this is supposed to be like the highest attendance for an Egg Bowl, I think, ever, especially from the Ole Miss side. They did a color change to have everyone wear powder blue because it stands out more against maroon. So I think that Ole Miss fans really show up for their team because they are so mad at Lane right now. I think they really show up and rally behind the team, because there is a playoff spot on the line, which is huge. Like this has already been a historic season for us, and we want to continue on with that. I think the players know that this is business. So yeah, I think that Ole Miss wins. I think that it's chippy. I think it's nasty. I think it's gonna be like some drama in the game. I think it could be close, but I still think Ole Miss gets the win in this one. Also, I disagree with the fact that this is media driven only because like Lane could have ended this, and the way Lane has handled it has been very poor, and he could have done it a million different ways. And that we as media people are just like we're reporting what's happening, what he's saying, what he's doing, and all this circus. I think that he could have handled this completely differently for a program that's given him everything, you know. So I do think we talk about it a lot, but it's because we have to. That's the job, you know. If there wasn't anything going on, we wouldn't be talking about it, but there is. So like, I hate that it's centered around that, but I think that Ole Miss hopefully can overcome all the noise and the drama, and I think we get the win.
And I mean, for Ole Miss, I hope I'm wrong because I do. I mean, I do hope the players can win despite all this. But like I said, I don't know where their heads at. So
Yeah, yeah. And it all comes down to that mental aspect going into the game too.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
I think that like nowadays, like yes, they're still kids, but like they're getting paid now. This
yeah,
is a business, you
yeah,
know, like, and you gotta, you're an employee of this university. You gotta show when you have a bad day, you still gotta show up to work and go to
yep,
work. You don't get
yep,
to feel all your feelings. And if they weren't getting paid, I might feel a little differently. But when you're getting paid an absurd amount of money and NIL and everything else, like show up and play. This is your job now. It's your job.
yep,
So show up and get a win.
yep. All right, now that was really good. Some really good points. Now Bryant might not agree at this point, but on to our next game. This might be the game that decides the 2025 SEC like title contention, and we're gonna hop over to A&M versus Texas. This is a big game. I mean, A&M's having, me and Bryant were talking about it a little earlier. A&M's having a phenomenal year under second year head coach Elko. And you look at all that they've done this year. Yes, there's been some close games. Yes, they had a really shaky game a few weeks ago, barely squeaking by towards the end by the skin of their teeth against South Carolina. But I just think with how they're playing this year, they have to go in strictly business against Texas. It's going to be a close game. You got to, like me and Bryant were saying, so you can't count Texas out of this game. Obviously, Sark's a phenomenal head coach. They've got a young quarterback in Arch Manning, but I think in this game, I think A&M straight business. I think they win. I think it's going to be close, and that's really all I have to say for that. I don't know. I don't think A&M gets shot down at all by the rivalry smoke in this game, and I think Marcel Reed's business. I think that Elko's business, and I think that they're going to win this game.
I mean, I think Texas A&M is going to win this game too. But I think South Carolina was a wake up call for them. I really do, especially at home. You're getting blown out 30-3 at half. Then you have this huge comeback, biggest comeback but the only thing is it's on the road at Austin. A&M won or not, or Texas won this game a year ago in Aggie land. They've already got the confidence that they can win this game. But Marcel Reed's played this game. Arch Manning hasn't. That's kind of what it comes down to me. And this is A&M's chance to make a statement because if you look at their SEC schedule, they haven't. Let's be honest. They've played Notre Dame on the road and they beat them. But when it comes to the SEC, they haven't really had teams that have tested them up until South Carolina. So this is their chance to make a statement and say, "Hey, we're undefeated. We're first SEC championship appearance since going into the league, something they never had." So I'm going with the Aggies, but I think it will be closer just because it's in Austin. But yeah, I like the Aggies too.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to go Texas A&M here. I'm seeing like I've read some articles about Texas like dominating on Saturday. Like you played a 2-8 Arkansas team. Like you should have dominated them. Like I just everyone talking about how Arch just had like a great performance, whatever. Texas doesn't look how I thought they were going to look at the beginning of the season. I don't I know it's a rivalry game. I know it's in Austin. So like yes, I do also agree that it's going to be close, but I just think that like Texas A&M is they just look so good and even with like the game at South Carolina, everyone's holding their breath like holy crap, there's no way they come back. And then they prove that they can do that. And I agree with you, Bryant, where you said that you think it was a wake up call. 100%. I think maybe there was like a mentality change from the minute they came out of the locker room in the second half of that game. And I think if they keep riding on that, like if you show that you can battle back like that in a SEC game that's like that with all that being on the line, I think that you show up to the occasion in a rivalry game like this. And I also think that Mike Elko is just such a good coach. Like if he ever wanted to leave Texas A&M and if Lane's leaving us, like if he wants to come down to Oxford and help us out a little bit. But I just think that they just have a ton of talent all over the place, and Texas does too. But I don't know. It's just something about Texas is I think that they think that they're better than they really are, but they've always been like that because I think that it's Texas, and I can't something about their attitude just bothers me. And I think who Mike Elko is and the way he's led this Texas A&M team, like their confidence, they back up the confidence that they have. Like they put their money where their mouth is. And so I just think that that could be the deciding factor in this one. Like you can't just show up and win for being Texas. Like that's not how this works. And Matthew McConaughey on the sidelines, it's bugging me. I don't like it. Yeah. It's getting on my nerves. I just want it to be about football. But my brother also graduated from Texas A&M, so gig 'em.
Well, I think before we move on, Texas A&M, this is a win and you're in scenario. I mean, they're already a lock for the playoff, but this is a win and you are in the SEC championship game. I don't buy the whole you shouldn't play for the SEC championship game because you can rest your players and you're special. But I think you should play to win your league and then get to the playoff. And for A&M, everything because like I explained earlier, if they lose this game, they will need a lot of help to get into the SEC championship game because their conference schedule is not that great. So
yeah,
A&M, it's a win and you're in situation.
This is another thing though, like the whole thing about the SEC championship game. Like I don't want the Ole Miss to play in the SEC championship game. Like I want the extra rest, but I don't think that comes from like I think that's because of how they've set things up. I think that that's an overarching issue from up above. Like there should be incentive to want to play in the SEC championship game. Like that's always been a huge deal. And now because of the situation we're in with how the playoffs and everything is set up, there's not as much incentive to want to play in that game. You know, you got an extra game. And then what if you lose? What if it's not, because it's not a guaranteed win? Like, because if you're going to the SEC championship game, you're going up against Alabama, like or Georgia. Like you want to go into that game when you've got a playoff run on the line and you want your guys to be healthy going into a playoff run. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I mean,
hey, you look at Ohio State last year, they got that rest and that rest seemed to help. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I get it.
I'm with you on that.
The SEC championship though is just so nostalgic. I guess for me, seeing Alabama win it as much as they have, I guess.
Here we go.
I guess it's just a nostalgia thing with me. But anyway,
Mhm.
we can go on. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah,
No,
all these
so
ones we've
yeah,
won.
yeah. Brian, it's been 4 years, almost over 4 years since Ohio State's been there, so it's a little depressing. But into our next game, we're sticking with the partial SEC. We've got the Georgia Bulldogs and Georgia Tech facing off, and to me, for this game, I think it's more than just fighting for a rivalry game for Georgia in this game. I think it's fighting for playoff legitimacy. Like Georgia Tech's having a really great year, but you look at that game last year. That game was so close last year. I feel like this game's always tends to be close. Last year, though, you look, they went into 8 overtimes with Carson Beck. They pulled it off by the skin of their teeth by 2 points. And history matters, though, in this game. Like Georgia has dominated the history of this game. And under Kirby Smart, Georgia's always going to be dominant through the flesh. I think that they still win this game. Kirby's still searching to get to another SEC title game, still looking for another playoff run, looking to get back to where he was just a few years ago when Georgia went back to back. And I think Georgia Tech will have some fight on this game, but I don't think that it'll be enough to just kind of compete with that consistency that Georgia has offensively and on the defensive side of the ball. And I just think that Georgia's going to blow this game out of the water because they're looking for that playoff spot. They're looking for a high playoff spot, and it again comes down to that SEC title game. So I think the Bulldogs win big in this one.
So with Brent Key being at Georgia Tech and Georgia Tech being as good as they've gotten every year to this point, I think this rivalry has been somewhat renewed because of Georgia Tech being competitive. And so, but I think, but then you watched Georgia Tech get down big to Pitt early last week, almost came back, but wasn't able to. Um, but Georgia's just been ever since the Alabama game. Georgia has steadily been getting better each and every week. They dominated Texas. Um, I think Georgia blows them out in Atlanta. I really do. I like Georgia Tech. I like Haynes King. I think he's a Heisman contender with everything that they have him do. But I don't know, man. The Bulldogs are legit maybe the scariest team in the CFP just because of how good Kirby is, and they've just been getting better. They have done nothing but get better since the Alabama loss.
No,
Yeah,
I'm with you.
I'm gonna echo that. I think that Georgia has gotten hot at just the right time. Like if there's any time in the season you want to get hot, it's literally right now. And I feel like Georgia is just like stepping into rare form. Kirby is, I think, one of the best coaches like now, like that's actively coaching right now. He's one of the best coaches. I also think that there was a period of time where Georgia was really like a second half team. It's almost like I know that because when we played them, it's what they it's like the way their mentality changes in the second half. Like they're a scary team to go up against. I would not want to play them again. Personally, I would not. I like they are just hot at just the right time. I think that they make it all the way to the championship, and I 100% could see them winning the whole thing because Georgia's looking how Georgia is supposed to look. I mean, what they're number 4 right now. Like
Yeah,
I think that I don't even honestly, I don't see this year's game being close. Like I think Georgia's almost like when they step on the field, they're playing angry, like they play mad, and especially seeing how Georgia Tech played last week. I mean, I would like to think that you're coming off a game like that, like you're working out the kinks, trying to come back, and you're going to be better this week. But I don't know. I've got questions for Georgia Tech, and I just think that Georgia wins this one convincingly. I really do. I think that they've never looked better than what they look like right now this season.
for sure. I mean, and for Georgia Tech, I mean this, in the grand scheme of things for them. I mean, this game does matter. It's a rivalry game, has playoff implications, but they still have ACC title hopes on the line. And I mean, if they're already looking ahead to the ACC title game, I wouldn't blame them. So who
They'll get
knows?
caught sleeping. They'll get caught sleeping.
All right. Now into our next game. Another SEC I mean, this game doesn't have anywhere near as big as implications as these other games have
I
had.
think it's the most interesting game of the week. I
It,
really
it,
do.
it is a very interesting game when we go to this Vandy-Tennessee game. I mean, like you look at both these programs this year. I mean, I think they're both right where we kind of all expected them to be. But I think, like, I mean, you could say you maybe had higher expectations for Tennessee with Joey Aguilar, and Joey Aguilar is having a great year. But you look, Tennessee lost every game that we thought they were going to lose this year. Like they lost against Oklahoma, they lost to Georgia in overtime, they lost to Bama at Bama, and it's like they're kind of right where we expected them to be at this point. But I think bouncing off that win that they had last week against Florida, I think that was a big win momentum wise. They needed pushing them into this game against Vandy. And for me, I think Joey Aguilar has a game. I think Tennessee comes out on top, but I think it's going to be close. I mean, you can't knock Vandy out either. Vandy had a big win against Mizzou. This game's going to be close. It's going to be close. This game could be a game like that Georgia game last year where it goes to 8 overtimes and like someone scrapes by the skin of their teeth. But I think Tennessee wins.
Man, I because of Vandy beating Alabama last year, I could not stand Vandy and Diego Pavia. But the more I watch them, and I'm not the biggest fan of Pavia's persona, but man, he's a winner. He's won everywhere he's gone. Clark Lee has done an amazing job. I mean, you talk about expectations. I had no expectations for Vandy to be sitting here 9-2, being a fringe playoff team. I mean they're exceeding expectations in that regard. They lost two close games to at Alabama, at Texas. If a couple different things go their way in both of those games, they're sitting here 11-0. I mean, think about that. So I'm on the Vandy train. I like the year Vandy has been having this year. I like for them to go into Neyland Stadium, get a huge win, and if they do that, I think Vandy's a playoff team some way or another. And I think Diego Pavia somehow goes to New York in a couple weeks. He's one of those guys that just if Vandy doesn't have him, they're probably not as good as they are. So I'm going with the Commodores on the road. I like Vandy.
I'm with you, Brian. I'm picking Vandy. I think that Diego Pavia has just been on one these past few weeks. For one, I love him. I love his attitude and his personality. Like he's fun to watch. And another thing I'm wondering, do you think Theo Vaughn's going to be at the game?
Oh,
probably.
Definitely.
And also, like every time there's a big play, I feel like the camera is always going to Pavia's mom. Like, have y'all noticed that?
Yes.
It's just like when Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift started dating, and like every time there was a good play, it's like it's on Taylor Swift. Like that's how it is with Diego Pavia's mom. But yeah, Clark Lee is on my short list for head coaches at Ole Miss if Lane decides to leave. He's not at the top of my list, but he's on there. I just think
he just can't bring Pavia with him because he's been there for like 8 years.
I do think that that too. I just think Pavia, like he's the MVP. I think without him, like Vandy doesn't, not that Vandy's not talented, but like what they have with him. And I also think that has to do with his leadership and his personality. Like that team really just like rallies. They don't get down. Even when they lose, they're not defeated. It's just the energy around that team right now, especially in these last few weeks. I think Vandy comes out with the win in this one. I know that it's on the road, and when you're at Rocky Top and the whole atmosphere of it, like I know that's intimidating, but I still just think that like Vandy's on such a high right now. I think that they ride that into this game with Tennessee. I think Vandy gets the win. Yeah, I'm with Vandy on this one.
All right.
And there's a scenario where Vandy does win this game and they're 10-2 and they don't get in the playoffs, and that would be incredibly like
Unfortunate.
I guess just seeing Vandy be as bad as they have been the last 2 decades, seeing them get in the playoff would just be fun.
I pull for them. Like the only way I would not pull for them is if they're playing against Ole Miss. But like other than that, like I'm pulling for Vandy. Like it's just fun football. Like that's good television. It's just fun to watch. It really is. It makes watching football on Saturdays just like 10 times more interesting. Like I catch myself like if I'm not watching Ole Miss, I'm like, okay, what's Vandy doing? What time does Vandy kick? Like it's one of those years, and it's been that way for the past few years, I guess, but definitely this year it's like, okay, what's Vandy gonna do? What's Vandy doing? And it shows because it seems like they put on a show every Saturday.
For sure.
No, they definitely do. This next game too might be just as interesting as that Tennessee Vandy game. But into that some ACC action now. Miami playing at Pitt this week. The ACC this year has been so shaky. Like you think back to I was about to say 6-7 weeks ago, but 6-7 weeks ago, Miami was looking like everybody said that they deserved to be the number one team in the country. And at that time, too, I also thought, yeah, maybe they do deserve a shot at being ranked higher than Ohio State. And then we see what's happened since then after everything kind of fell off the rails for them, losing to Louisville, then losing at SMU in overtime. And it seems like, I mean, they still have a shot. For me, I'm picking Pitt this game, and I don't know. I think there's something about Pitt this year. They had a big win at Georgia Tech last week. And obviously, I know they lost to Notre Dame. That wasn't that great of a game for them. But I think right now, the ACC is so up in the air. And it's like every conference other than the Big Ten and the SEC, it's just like, all right, what's even going on over there? Because there's a lot of chaos every single week. Anything can happen. And I think that's why Pitt's going to win this week. I think they're going into it with a little bit more momentum at home. And I'm not going to say they're going to shut down Carson Beck because I still think Carson Beck has a really big game as he has all year. But I think the Pittsburgh Panthers are getting the win at home and in big fashion.
I think we'll go with the Hurricanes just because they control their own destiny in the sense of if they can just stay in the same pool as Notre Dame, who they beat week one, they're going to get in the playoff because they have that head-to-head win. They have the head-to-head win over Notre Dame. They're right there for some reason, and I can't figure out why, and I think the rest of the country agrees with me as to why they're not valuing that head-to-head between Notre Dame and Miami. They're the same record. You could argue Miami has the better wins than Notre Dame because Miami beat Notre Dame so I don't understand. I don't think Miami gets into the ACC championship game with this win because I think they're too far down in the conference, but they're high enough in the playoff rankings to where if they win this game, they could be a shoe in to be in there. Now I don't think they're a lock, but I don't think they're a lock. But I like the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I think I'm also going to go with Miami, but this is also because like they got bit by the injury bug towards like the middle part of the season, and I know they're going to be getting a lot of their starters back. And I think that that's going to definitely have an impact on this game and how things go. And then also if Carson Beck doesn't choke with everything, there's so many things they have on the line. I think that Miami should be good to go. But like I think this could be a really close game. I don't want to count Pitt out. I just Carson Beck makes me nervous when he's under pressure. Like he either rises to the occasion or he completely chokes. Like there's no in between with him. Like you on the goal line with SMU, are you joking? Like sometimes I watch him play and I'm like, what are you doing? Like
He
what
was
is
like
going?
that at Georgia too. I
Like
mean,
and that's what I've heard Georgia fans say, and it's just like I can't wrap my head around it because he can go out and have like a Heisman performance and then the next week he's throwing 3 picks. I'm like, what does he have like a multiple personality disorder or something? Like a different
Hey, he
person's on
might.
the
He
field?
might.
He very well might, but I think if the good version of Carson Beck shows up this week and with them getting so many of their starters back, because they've really had to go into they've lacked a little bit of depth because of all the injuries, but with them getting that depth back and not having to play so many of those like third string players, like it gives them an opportunity to have their starters back on the field and they get to be like in true form. You know what that's what a head coach wants. Like he wants his first string guys out there. So you give me that. You give me Carson Beck on a good day. I think Miami gets the win, but I do think it's close.
It's definitely going to be close. And Brian, I'm not even going to let you talk anymore because now we're going into my favorite game of the week. My feet are sweating and my hands are sweating right now just thinking about it. Because, all right, we're going into the game. Ohio State, Michigan at Michigan. It's at the Big House. Ohio State obviously hasn't won the last 4 years, which is very upsetting for me. Last year, Ohio State still won the Natty, but was the season really a success without beating the team up north? For both teams, it comes down to this game. Your season is not a success if you can beat the other team. It doesn't matter. This is everything on the line in this game. And I think the big thing for Ohio State this year is I think last year after the loss to Michigan at home, when Jack Sawyer tore the flag down, when they're bringing it midfield, I think everything clicked for Ryan Day after that moment. He had a lot more fire headed into the playoff. I mean, you look at the run that he made, beating Tennessee, beating Oregon, then beating Texas, then beating ND. And then you look at this year, everybody was like, oh, Ohio State lost so many pieces. Can they do this again? Julian Sain is the most efficient passer in college football. The last 3 weeks, Carnell Tate has been out the last 3 weeks getting rest. Jeremiah Smith has only played 2 quarters the last 3 weeks. So we're giving our number 1 and number 2 receivers a ton of rest. And then you look at Bo Jackson or Lamar Bo Jackson, 2 great names for a running back, true freshman running back, best freshman running back in college football right now. I think right now all the cards are aligning for Ohio State to win this game in the Big House. Obviously, I've thought that the last 4 years and it hasn't happened, but I think this year is slightly different. I think Ryan Day's got a little bit more firepower on him. Nobody on this team, on this Ohio State roster, has beaten Michigan, so they're all seeking that pair of gold pants that they're going to be getting from Ryan Day if they win and when they win on Saturday. So, I mean, I'm hoping they win. I have faith that they will win. I think just riding off the momentum from last year. And I think Michigan had that same momentum going into last year's game when they had won the national championship the year before. And I think this year's different for Ryan Day, and I think the Buckeyes went on the road. So
I'm gonna go with the Buckeyes too, but in the sense of where I think Michigan is just too young. I think right, true freshman quarterback.
Bryce underwhelming.
Well, I wouldn't say underwhelming. He's just young. He's a young quarterback who's still learning. He's still developing. His running back, number 1 running back, Justice Haynes, he's out for the rest of the year. That's been their like security blanket for the most of the season until he went out. They're just too young, and I think with Ohio State, yes, their schedule has not been a world beater, but they have dominated everybody that they've been put in front of, except for Texas. Even though they still won that game at home, I don't know. I think Michigan is too young, but it would not shock me because of maybe the last 4 years maybe creeping into Ohio State's head. But I'm going to go with the Buckeyes. Close though. I think it's a closer game. I think it'll be the closest game Ohio State's played all year, just based on their schedule, based on this type of environment.
Say what you want.
I am going to go Ohio State, but barely.
I also am going with Ohio State here, but I agree with what you're saying that it's probably going to be the closest game they play all year based on their schedule. Because I think what a lot of people forget is strength of schedule. So I think this is a really big test for Ohio State. But I mean, they're the number 1 team in the country. They're a 10-point favorite. Like I do think they get the win, but I do think it's close. I'm also very interested, like how often does Ryan Day dye his beard? Like I just want to.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
I just want to know, like, is he gonna dye it before this game? Like, does that play into a superstition? Like, are we gonna win this year? Did he dye it at the right time? Like, the thing that makes me nervous about this game is that it's at Michigan, and that's a hostile environment. That's a difficult place to play. But I just think with what Ohio State looks like right now and how they look, going into the postseason, I think that they could easily be a national champion at the end of this season. I think that Ohio State gets the win, but I do think that it's close. As this game, it's always an interesting one, that's for sure. But I do think it's close.
It is. And into the next game, which is always an interesting one too. The Iron Bowl. I mean, I know Bryant's excited. I know Bryant's nervous, probably sweating like
I think I'm more nervous than excited.
Yeah,
Are you going?
That's how I feel too.
Unfortunately not. I guess because I went to the Alabama-Oklahoma game, I'm saving my PTO for week of Christmas. So
I'll be there. I'm going to cover it that day. I'm excited. I'm excited.
It's gonna be close. And I mean, just like the game, this is like arguably between Ohio State, Michigan, and Alabama, Auburn, like those are two of the biggest rivalries in college football. Like you can't mess with that. And I think going to this game, I know Bryant's not going to like this, but I think Auburn upsets in Jordan Hare. You know, there's always voodoo crap that goes on in Jordan Hare, and I think with Hugh Freeze gone and an interim head coach in, I think that right now going into this game, Auburn's going to play like it's their Super Bowl. And I think that Alabama might have some slip ups that I don't know if it's going to be like a Ty Simpson pick six or whatever it may be, but I think Auburn is fully going into this game thinking that they can shock the Tide. And I think that they're going to just, I don't know. I like Bryant always says it that Jordan Hare's got some voodoo crap that goes on there. And I truly think that this is the year where that voodoo comes into play. And I mean, it's a night game at Jordan Hare. How does the board fare? Like, let's see it. And I think Auburn wins. It's gonna be like 2 years ago when Jalen Milroe had that crazy, like, what was it, 4th and 32, and threw it in the back of the end zone.
4th and 31.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's gonna be.
Well, who caught that?
Isaiah Bond.
Yeah,
Bond. Yes, because it made me think of like James Bond. Yeah.
It's gonna be that, but on Auburn's side of the win column this year.
Emily, I'm gonna let you go for this one.
I really had a tough time with this one, only because like when they any games like this that are Auburn, I'm telling you, there's some ooky spooky about it. There absolutely is something ooky spooky about it. It makes me nervous because it's also just Alabama. I think when they are at their best, they look so good. And I need Ty Simpson to have a good game because when he's off, it's like everything starts falling off the rails. Like they can't run the ball and he's throwing interceptions. Like it's just tough things. But if Alabama looks how I know they can, because they've got the talent, and you put Ryan Williams out there, I'll pick him any day of the week to go out there and make a play. But I think that like if Auburn would just use like Cam Coleman is such an underutilized weapon that they just something should be done about the fact that they haven't used him as much as I feel like they could have. Hugh Freeze is out the door. Just I don't know. I've gone back and forth about this game all week, and I think I'm going Alabama. I think I want to go Alabama, but I'm really nervous about that pick because I do think that there could be some crazy like kick six, 4th and 31. Like I feel like it is going to be that type of Iron Bowl this year, just based on everything. Because I think, in my opinion, like if Kalen DeBoer doesn't win this game, he's in the hot seat. And then does he not want to deal with the hot seat? And does he want to go be the head coach at Penn State? Like, I've read the article. Please tell me you read the AL.com article.
Unfortunately.
It's a possibility. And how lucky really is this black hoodie that he's always wearing that he never takes off? Like, I don't know. It's just, this game feels weirder this season than it has in quite some time for me, but I still think Bama comes out with the win in this one. I think Ryan Williams has a heck of a night. And have you seen the jerseys that they're going to have on too?
Mm-hmm.
I saw Ryan Williams post a picture today, and it was like Blackout Friday, and it's like a black jersey.
I don't think they're gonna be wearing black jerseys. The fans would not like that.
Well, why would he post? I don't know. Why would he post that? What's that for?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't even seen that.
He posted it on his Instagram either this morning or yesterday. Look at it, and then
I'm looking right now. I've got to. Hold
on. He's like standing up doing his pose, like head down, fist in the air.
Let's see.
How did y'all not see this? I feel like y'all are more checked in.
It's not there anymore. I don't see it.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
It was on his Instagram story?
It was on it was on his Instagram. Like, he posted it, and it said Blackout Friday.
I don't know.
Weird. I don't know, but that's the first thing that I was thinking of. I was like, are they going to be wearing these jerseys on Saturday? Like,
there's no way. There's no way.
If I say, are you allowed to not wear, like, on the road? Like, what are the rules with jersey wise?
I think the other team has to like agree to it. Like as long as it's not like the same color jersey, like if it's like, of course Auburn's gonna wear their navy blue. So if it's not like, as long as it's not like a navy blue or like another dark color like black, I mean,
Also, does Auburn ever do anything fun with their jerseys?
no. Like,
I didn't think so. I mean, Alabama really doesn't either, but like Auburn is like below mid. Like I've never seen them do anything
I
fun or
mean, they change their
exciting.
face masks every now and then from the
Yeah, their
navy blue
face
to the
Oh
mask.
white
yeah.
and orange. But other than that, Bama
Oh,
doesn't mess with their uniforms.
I don't
So
know.
when it comes to this game for me, I said this a couple weeks ago when they lost to Oklahoma. It makes me physically ill that Bama's playoff SEC championship hopes and playoff hopes are coming down to this game in Jordan Hare. But what makes me feel a little bit better is they were in this spot 2 years ago in the exact same stadium, backs against the wall. Jalen, they were 10-1 with a loss to Texas. Um, they were already in the SEC championship game, but they knew that they'd have to win this game to go to the playoffs. That's when 4th and 31 happened. You still have a lot of guys on that team that played in that. And like I keep saying, when it comes to games like this, all these games except for Miami and Pitt, because it's not a rivalry game, you shouldn't need extra motivation when it comes to a rivalry game. When it comes to a game against your biggest rival, you shouldn't need the extra motivation. But Alabama has the extra motivation. So does Auburn because they get the chance to ruin Alabama's season. So there's a lot of extra motivation involved for both these teams. Uh, I'm going Alabama. I don't feel good about it, but I will say this: Auburn's defense hasn't been the same since Hugh Freeze got fired. I don't know if that's the fact that um, Durkin is now taking over head coaching uh, roles and not being able to attend to the defense as much, but their offense has looked a lot better. So, which their offense has been was putrid until Freeze got fired. I'll never understand that. But if Alabama can just go in there with their heads down, motivated, and play their game, they'll be fine. But it would not shock me at all if Auburn won this game. I physically want to throw up in my mouth because that is how like nerve-wracking it is that everything comes down to this game for Alabama season. So I'm a big Alabama. I don't think there's gonna be too much voodoo. Like besides the Mercer game last week, Auburn has lost their last three home games. Jordan Hare hasn't been a factor at all in those three home. They lost to Kentucky 10-3, Missouri in overtime, and Georgia. This Auburn team has not found the will to win. They
Could we
they
see Deuce Knight again?
maybe, but I will say this: Alabama's defense from that Florida State game to now, night and day. The way they
Oh,
play.
100%.
I mean, and shout out to Kane Womack. I mean, I love the guy. I loved him when I was at South. If he gets a head coaching opportunity, man, take it. He's earned it. Whether it's at Arkansas, he will do great things wherever he goes. I've enjoyed having him as the DC at Alabama, but he has done something to that defense, and I think they come ready to play. Offense, we'll see. I mean, I think Ty Simpson addressed it earlier, said, the doubters and whatnot is motivating him. So we'll see. I'm gonna pick Alabama, but I'm nervous about that pick. Uh, I can't pick Auburn. I won't do it. Can't do it. Won't do it. Just
We didn't
uh,
think
Hey,
you would. There would never be a day
yeah,
where you would pick him. But
exactly.
I do want to give a shout out to Deuce Knight because he's a Lucedale, Mississippi kid from George County High School and had a really, really good. I mean, it's Mercer. I'm aware that it's Mercer, but good first start for him. And if he, he's fun to watch. I'd like to see him maybe take the field on Saturday against Alabama. I doubt it happens because he's too young, but we'll see.
but yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot right, and like I was telling Josh earlier, I don't think there's a in recent years I can't remember a rivalry week where there's so many games across the board that have so many implications on the college football playoff. Um, Even there are ones that we didn't cover. today. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there are ones that we didn't cover, and they have huge implications. The first three that we cover are going to be on Friday night or
Yeah.
Friday. The Egg Bowl, Georgia Tech, and then at night Texas A&M, Texas, and then Saturday's the rest of them. Like I said to begin the show, it's exciting, but it's sad because it's the end of the regular season.
Yeah.
I'm nervous. I'm so nervous. There's just so many like because for me in particular, like there's supposed to some news might break before, and that's what I'm nervous about. Like I hope that they hold off and nothing leaks until after, but I hate it. I freaking
It'd be
hate it.
scary.
We're having a historic season. And the thing is, after we win this game at Mississippi State, we're going to be able to host a home playoff game. And we're going to have to get rid of him because he wants to go to LSU and we can't keep him. The portal's going to open and it's a national signing. Like, we can't have a guy that is going to be the head coach at LSU in our building poaching our players. Like, he's got to
Yeah.
go. And I think he's our best opportunity to win, but like, he's got to go. That's too big of a risk. And we know how he is. He's a snake. No offense.
Well,
Like, oh,
and yeah, it's tough. Well, before we let you go, there's one more game I want to get your thoughts on. It's a high school game. I know you're covering it.
St. Michael,
Jackson,
Jackson, St.
St.
Michael. I
Michael's.
was going to ask you the same thing.
That's a big game down there in Fairhope. St. Michael's beat them earlier in the season in Jackson. Xavier Crowell, man, I'm so excited to get him in an Alabama uniform. I know he can't.
EJ
I know he
is a
can't
dog.
sign. I know he can't sign until February because he's reclassified. But man, I'm excited about that kid. I know whoever gets Gunner Rivers is going to be excited as well. What's your thoughts on that game down there in Fairhope?
Oh, so I, Jackson just beat WS Neal in the quarterfinals. And the first time those two played, EJ didn't have like a big night or anything. The final in that one was like 30-7. Jackson beat them. And then Jackson just met them like played them last week and beat them like 40 something to 7. Like it was just a completely different game. Jackson woke up and showed up. And EJ is one of those kids that he's fueled by doubt. He loves when someone underestimates him. He loves when, the odds are not in his favor. I mean, I wish you could have, I don't know if you watched the show this past week, but Dacian went out to that game for game of the week and he had a soundbite. Like anytime that Dacian would put the camera on him, he would like count to 5 because he had 5 touchdowns and he was like, yeah, 5 tutties, 5 tutties. Like that kid, he's a demon on the field. That is a grown man playing against high school players. And just the talent that he is. But I also think that like I think Landon Duckworth is having like a down season. Like that's our reigning player of the year. He just doesn't look it's not the same. Something's not clicking. I don't understand what exactly it is. But then you've also got Red and Black Chapman, the Chapman brothers. I think I love that their nicknames are Red and Black. He's got those weapons on offense as well. And but I just St. Michael is so good, Bryant. Like they really are. They're so good. Like Gunner and what he's done this season. I mean, he didn't throw an interception like all season. Like he threw one interception for like majority of the season until like one of the last games of the regular season, and he threw 3 in a game. But even when he threw 3 interceptions in a game, they still came out on top and battled back and won because he's got guys like Noah Moss, who just broke a 4A record for rushing yards in a single game on like 17 carries, and like majority of that was all in the first half. Like that kid is so good. You also have Tucker Tomlinson, Brody Jones, who is just kind of like the I remember saying his name last season, but like what he's done this season, he just kind of came out of nowhere and it's just been like a lightning rod for that team. So yeah, it's tough. It's really hard to beat a team twice, but St. Michael can make history. Like they really, really could. This is a historic season, and a lot of these kids that Philip Rivers has coached, like he's been with them since they were in 8th grade. So like the seniors, like are the ones he's had since 8th grade. So like if this is just a really, really good season to do it, And all those guys just have a lot of belief. Like I've interviewed them and talked to them, and like some of our player of the week candidates have come out of there throughout the season. And like when you ask them about it, you're like, okay, like what's the mindset in the locker room? Like whenever you get down, like how did you come back in this game, whatever. And their answer is always like, we never believe we're going to lose. Like we don't even coaches over here stressing out, like what's going on? And we're all just like, oh no, coach, we got it. We'll be fine. And they always are. Like they literally always are. When they played UMS, they were down to UMS and came back and beat them in the last like 7 seconds of the game. Like they're a 4A going into 5A team, and on Gunner River's worst day, throwing 3 picks. So like I don't know. I think it's going to be in the quarterback battle. I think Gunner wins because Landon is having a down season. But as far as like just the talent that St. Michael has on offense, and it's evenly distributed. It's not just one kid making plays. Whereas Jackson, it's EJ Crowell. Like if EJ doesn't have a good game, that team is not successful. Whereas on the flip side of that, you look at St. Michael. Like if they've got all their guys, I mean, one's down, it's okay. There's other kids to pick up the slack. Like they've got more depth and more pieces around. Like the ball's distributed all over the field. So if I had to pick, I'm picking St. Michael.
Well, I'm pulling for the Aggies. Of course, they're where I'm from, so I got to go with them. But where can people, especially down there, hear the preview for this game? Catch you, of course, on Fox 10 Sports in the evenings. But I know y'all have a podcast as well. Where can people find you, and especially down there in the Gulf Coast?
So the next episode of the Big Friday Kickoff podcast will drop tomorrow night. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, fox10tv.com. You can find it on YouTube. Yeah, we're going to record it tomorrow, and then it should drop tomorrow night. We might get it out a little bit earlier because now that we don't have like our big preview show anymore, because well, Black Friday's on Friday, and like there's not going to be anybody working besides us football folks. So yeah, you can find that there. And then Dacian is going to do an extended game of the week preview show. And we're going to stream that. So that should be around 6 o'clock on Friday. He'll be doing the Williamson Viger game, which is a massive game. It's going to be at Ladd. There's supposed to be over 30,000 people there. Like huge. That's another huge game. And then I'm going to do a preview on Jackson St. Michael, also streaming because we have college football all day on Friday, like on Fox. Like it literally starts at noon and runs all throughout the night. But we will have the highlights around 10 o'clock on Friday. So if you like high school football, this is the week to tune in because we got some of the top talent down here in the country and some really great games this week.
Well, Emily, thank you so much for hopping on with us. It's been fun. It's always fun having you on. Fun catching up. So, Josh, you got anything, man?
No, thank you. Can't thank you enough.